Racial slurs, hate crimes, and Brexit. Has the unspeakable received permission to shout? I'm Brent Goff, and this is The Day. Manchester, England, the middle of the day.
Get back to Africa. Listen, the young'uns would do you little muck.
You are extremely ignorant and not very intelligent. Do you know that?
Off the tram now. You can get back off the tram now.
Off the tram then.
Disgusting, you're a disgrace.
Police in Britain say scenes like that have skyrocketed in numbers ever since the British voted for the Brexit.
The leaders of the Brexit campaign have engendered an atmosphere where some people believe it is open season now for racism and xenophobia.
People in the area especially been expecting that if they're going to vote out, day by day, we're just going to disappear. So when they woke up on the 24th of June and realised that we are still here, they became a little bit more open about their feelings.
The reality is that this may have unleashed a Pandora's box of bigotry and Islamophobia that has emboldened those who have wanted to say things in the past and haven't felt that they've been able to.
Well, welcome to the program, everyone. On the day, many in Britain and outside the country are beginning to equate the term Brexit with hate crimes. Now, to prove a direct cause-effect is not our task here on The Day. What we are compelled to do this evening is report on the stark differences in behavior pre-Brexit and post-Brexit. The National Police Chiefs Council says that the numbers speak for themselves. Since last Thursday's referendum, the number of hate crime complaints has shot up 57%. Eastern Europeans, especially those from Poland, in addition to Muslims, are attracting the most abuse. But as you are about to see, when a racist or a bigot chooses a new target, rhyme and reason are not involved. On a train in Manchester, England, 3 teenage boys were caught on camera trying to pick a fight with a passenger. Alcohol was involved, many expletives, and explosive anger. Take a look.
How old are you? Get off the tram now. Bro, I'll waste you, I'll waste anyone. Don't chat shit when you're not even from England, you little...
How old are you?
Little
How old are you?
What?
What are you, 18? 19?
No.
I've been here longer than you have.
I go places over. Don't get little immigrant. Get back to Africa. Listen, the young'uns would do you little muck. Don't chat shit.
You are extremely ignorant and not very intelligent. Do you know
Get off
that?
the tram now. You can get back off the tram now.
Off the tram then.
Get off the tram. Hey, you jump off the tram now, bro, and I'll take you on the tram now.
How old are you? 16? What are you, 16?
Get off the tram now. Yeah, get off the tram now. What's your name, bro? Get off the tram now.
What are you, 16? Get off with a bottle of beer. 7 years in the military. I would have
Disgusting, you're a disgrace. You're a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. England, you are a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Please don't.
Manchester police have confirmed a 20, 18, and 16-year-old have been arrested in connection with that incident. Now, Britain's Muslim community is also reporting a spike in the numbers of abuse complaints and hate crimes. Mikdad Versi, the Assistant Secretary General of the Muslim Council of Britain, says the evidence is clear of a direct connection to Brexit.
In the last 2 days, we've had hundreds of hate crimes taking place across the country. And the type of language that has been used, like, go back to your own country, we voted this way, now you have to get out, that type of language indicates quite clearly there is some sort of link, and that people on the ground feel somehow legitimized in saying some of the things that they are. They feel emboldened that this result has meant that a majority of people support their racist and bigoted views, when in reality, that's not the case.
All right, let's take this story now to the UK. I'm joined now by Rishi Madlani. He is a Labour councillor from Bloomsbury. Mr. Madlani, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us tonight on The Day. You have been a member of the Labour Party for 10 years. You've been active in local politics, but on referendum day last week, now correct me if I'm wrong, you were accused of not looking English. Tell us about that.
Indeed. I was at the polling station, as we politicians are prone to be on election day, and a gentleman came up to me and said, "You don't look English enough to have a say in this." I mean, now I can laugh about it, but at the time it's absolutely horrendous. And little did I know that was to become a sort of a sign of what was to come this weekend, looking at the spike in attacks and all awful behaviour and language towards people of race and from other backgrounds.
Do you agree that the genie is out of the bottle now, that being openly racist has been legitimized via the Brexit result?
Well, firstly, I believe the British and English peoples are not racist people, and I think, unfortunately, it's a tiny minority. But a tiny minority seem to feel empowered to do horrible things. And actually, it's the scale of what's been going on has been the most distressing part of it. From the burning of the Polish centre to isolated incidents I'm hearing all over London and all over the country. I was just reading on the way here that my cousin had been abused on Facebook, and it's really quite terrifying that what a monster this has created.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Madlani, no doubt you have heard about the racist slurs painted on the front of the Polish Social and Cultural Centre in West London on Sunday. I want you to stand by with us right now. We want to talk about that for a moment. The staff there say that, of course, they were shocked by the vandalism, but they also say that they were reassured by the support that they've received since it happened. Take a look.
An outpouring of reassurance at the office of the Polish Social and Cultural Association after xenophobic graffiti appeared on the front door. Gestures of love far outweighed the hatred.
Hundreds of emails coming in, thanking us and saying they're sorry. Please don't take it that all English people think like this. We love you. Children from the local school demonstrating outside our building this morning with their mothers, demonstrating their support for us. All these people coming in with cards and flowers, well wishers. We're very, very comforted by this.
In the West London district of Hammersmith, more than 2/3 of the electorate voted to remain in the EU. So they're all the more shocked and dismayed that the referendum result has unleashed a spate of xenophobic crimes.
It's sullying the good name of our country, which I think by and large is pretty tolerant. But recently, some of the worst in us has come out, and it saddens me very much.
That's a feeling shared by many in this area. Jan Stangrichuk lived through the nationalism of the 20th century and fought on the side of the British against the Nazis. Given the current eruption of racist behavior, he can't help but be reminded of Europe's darkest chapter in living memory.
I think it is almost coming so close as it emerged in certain countries before the Second War. Because it is just now, we could say, is heading in almost same direction. Yes.
But most of his compatriots living in Hammersmith are resolved not to let it get them down, even if recent events have left a horrible aftertaste.
What's happened, it hurts, because that hits our hearts. But I doubt that some sort of, incident would scare people off.
Bart Gulinski wants to remain in England, and he won't let anyone take his newfound home away from him.
Well, we're back now with Rishi Madlani. He's a Labour councillor from Bloomsbury in England. Mr. Madlani, we just saw that report. Polish residents are also being targeted. You have whites, you have non-whites who are not British being targeted. How do you explain this, as one analyst said, this equal opportunity discrimination that's going on?
Well, unfortunately, I blame it entirely on the campaign that's just been fought by the Leave, the Brexiteers. They fought a campaign that was hiding xenophobia and racism across the campaign, from calling immigrants numbers, by pointing the finger across races, across nations. They whipped up this frenzy. And unfortunately, now they've won. They've unleashed this upon the population. It is a tiny minority of people who think like that. I think the majority of people who voted Leave are not racist in any way, shape or form. But unfortunately, that's what happens when you whip up a frenzy against minorities.
Well, was your party, for example, Labour Party, I mean, was your party too quiet in your response to the other side?
Well, I'm sorry, there are a couple of points first to be made on this. Firstly, this is a referendum we never should have had. We don't hold referendums on capital punishment because sometimes the outcome might not be what politicians or what the public really want. Secondly, a nasty Farage-led UKIP campaign became a Tory campaign when Boris gave it legitimacy and populism. And then it was given pseudo-intellectual cover by the Tory party. I also do think my party has a role to play in this. I would have liked to have seen a more forthright say from the leadership on why we should be remaining, and a more positive campaign about the benefits membership of the EU has brought, and also just the international approach we've had for many years.
But what about what we're seeing right now? I mean, you've got the Prime Minister resigning, the Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, your party boss, he's refusing to even talk about resignation. I mean, he's just as guilty, isn't he? I mean, he should be kicked out as well, shouldn't he?
I have today signed a petition calling for Jeremy's resignation and for a new leadership ballot. Unfortunately, however much I like Jeremy, he's a nice guy, he's one of our neighbouring MPs, he's let us down by failing on the most important issue facing our nation in the last 25 years. And unfortunately, we've lost this battle, and now our duty begins, and we are duty held to the British people to help rebuild our nation and repair these tears that have happened to our national fabric. These isolated incidents so far are examples of the damage this campaign has done, and I'm afraid I can't forgive the leadership, and it's time for a change.
Well, Mr. Madlani, just listening to you, you are very, very eloquent, obviously very intelligent. You're plugged in. Exactly what a politician should be. But where were you and where were the others like you 6 months ago? I mean, we've been covering this story now for a long time, and we've asked many times, where is the anti-Farage, the anti-Boris Johnson? I mean, did you guys just think that no one was listening to them, so you didn't have to do anything?
Not at all, and I'll be very clear, in my ward and in our council, actually, all three of us have busted a gut to get as many Remain votes out. In Bloomsbury, we got 76% of the population out. Didn't quite beat the Gibraltars, who were very, very good. Yeah. But we literally busted a gut. But actually, this is where, the leadership from the Tories, unfortunately, completely imploded. Cameron let himself be... Firstly, a referendum we should never have had, but secondly, let himself be completely overrun by Boris and the Boris and Gove show. And then my party also didn't contribute. I mean, we didn't have the leadership. We did everything we could on the ground, and I have bled, sweat, and cried for this election. And believe me, a lot of my Labour colleagues have done the same. Yes. And that's why I'm calling for Jeremy's resignation now.
Let me ask you. We're running out of time here. Two things, briefly. Do you think the Brexit will take place? I mean, will it go all the way? And what do you think about Scotland? Do you think that at the end of the day, Scotland will leave the UK?
So I'm an eternal optimist. And after a weekend of deep mourning, and I'm still a little bit in shock at this result, I still remain hopeful that something may emerge that may trigger an option to the British people that they may be willing to accept and change their minds. We have to accept the democratic mandate of the people, and it was a very clear vote here. But if there is something, a third way, some solution that works, that keeps us within Europe, it is for the best. I mean, some of the arguments made by the Leave campaign, where they have rejected everything they've said, from the £350 million figure that was bandied around that's already been rubbished by the Leavers, the numbers on immigration, the sort of the multiple lies. I think a lot of the British public are having Legxit now, sort of a regret about leaving. Coming on to Scotland, we love the Scottish. We want to be part of a United Kingdom, and I really hope that this is not the trigger of another referendum. I don't think that would be the will of the people, seeing as only a year ago they've had a recent referendum. But I would hope that we can keep the Kingdom united.
Oh, well, Rishi Madlani, for someone who was told he didn't look very English, you know, if I had to make a bet, I would say you're the type of Englishman I'd like to have next door. Rishi Madlani, they're talking to us, a Labour councillor from Bloomsbury. Thank you very much, and all the best with the post-Brexit time.